What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 83 of the Wrestlebread podcast. In case you didn't hear already, the reason why I'm going live on Mixer is because there are a lot of issues going on with my computer. My computer gave me the blue screen of death, and then tried to fix it. It wanted to repair my C drive. It was saying it was going to take like 100 something hours. Had to do a wipe, and then it's still not working. So now I'm on Mixer. Decided to do Mixer Live until I figure out everything with my computer. But I figured it was the easier way to kind of connect with everyone, instead of, recording and editing and things like that. So, strange thing is, I didn't realize that in order for you to have a chat, that you actually have to have a subscription with Mixler. So, the chat is unfortunately turned off right now. I actually have to have a subscription with Mixler, so if you want to ask me any questions or anything, be sure to tweet at me. You can tweet at me at JD Talks, or you can tweet at Wrestlebread. This may come off as a bit of a hot mess because I'm just kind of doing everything on the fly, so please bear with me. But I have a lot to talk about today. I didn't get a chance to really go over Full Gear. There's a lot of news that had came out. We have Survivor Series this week, so I'll be doing my predictions for that as well. We're getting started. Of course, the biggest news right now has to do with Zelina Vega. She was let go by WWE, and it really was a big shocker to everyone. Everyone knows, though, that there's a lot of issues and kind of a lot of people are upset backstage because of everything that's going on with Twitch. And I've talked about it before. Like, I'm on both sides. Like, I understand the need to have some type of structure when it comes to your talent or your employees whenever they're on different platforms, because you don't want them to say something and then it comes out on TMZ the next day. I understand those type of things. But when they started saying that in order for you to be on Twitter, we have to take a portion of your profit or something, that's the type of part that I don't really get. There are a lot of wrestlers on there that actually stream for charity. I do know that Mia Yim streams a lot for charity. She streamed for, I think it was for someone's surgery or something like that. And normally there's a lot of different streams that they do. Zelina Vega is another one who streamed sometimes for charity as well. So I understand that. Like, I work for a company where, as though, if you're planning to like interact with politicians or something like that, they want to know first. Like, you have to get clearances and stuff. So I understand that train of thought. But to completely say, we're going to cut into your profits and this, that, and the third, especially since there's no more live shows. So the fact that there's no more live shows, it kind of cuts into the talent's revenue anyway. And a lot of their revenue also comes from t-shirt sales. So now you're a slave to the TV shows. So if you don't get a lot of TV time, that's pretty much it. People are going to forget that you are there. People are going to forget that you're still working for the company, and they're not going to buy your shirts or anything like that. So, like, for example, Naomi. Naomi's no longer on TV, and who's going out to buy her shirts right now? Not a lot of people. I doubt there's anyone that's buying Naomi shirts right now because she's not even on TV. So, I can understand from the wrestler's point of view. So, as far as, I didn't really catch SmackDown right away because I saw that she went on Twitter. And I actually follow her on Twitter. And I mean, not Twitter, on Twitch. So I saw that she went on Twitch, and I immediately hopped on Twitch to see what she had to say. She was, she was crying. She had like maybe 5,000 people that came on and watched her stream. And she was crying. She was very sad. Of course, she's devastated and everything like that. And she didn't talk bad about WWE. She, thanked WWE should thank Vince, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon for all their, for letting, her to wrestle. It's always been her dream to wrestle in WWE. And she did it all for her dad. And if you don't know, her father actually passed away during the tragic events on 9/11. And so since that, she had pretty much dedicated, her goal, her dream to him of being a wrestler in WWE. So she's very happy, that she was able to make her goal. Of course, we all know that she has that 90-day clause, so she can't really do much, but she is planning to be on Twitch again. And so now there are details that came out as to what led to her. She did mention on her Twitch stream that she had an OnlyFans account, but she was using the OnlyFans for a cosplay because she does a lot of cosplay. And so she was mainly using the OnlyFans for a cosplay. And that's pretty much what was the last straw, was her OnlyFans. And I think the story is that WWE doesn't really have something for OnlyFans. It was mainly the Twitch and the Cameo. And so they really couldn't figure out what to do until they let her go. And a lot of people were saying that it could be related to her tweet about unions and stuff like that. But I think that it was written in the sand before she even sent that tweet out. Now, what I don't agree with, I guess they wanted to make an example because of how many people are very upset that they can't stream and hold on to their funds and stuff. I don't think just straight up firing her would have been the best response. Maybe a suspension or something like that if you wanted to do something about it, but to straight fire her like that, I don't know. I felt as that was a bit excessive. But there is a story, I forgot who talked about it, that I forgot who it was, but back in the day, there was someone who mentioned, there was a story that they talked about, unions and stuff like that, and Vince McMahon damn near fired them within a few hours. So if it is the fact that she mentioned about unions, then, it's really sad that this happened to her, but, it's a bit of a struggle because she got let go for the whole union thing and stuff like that, where we have wrestlers on the roster that have done a lot worse than saying unions and wanting to create an OnlyFans account and wanting to stream on Twitch, who are still employed, who got title shots, who will get a title eventually. And so stuff like that just really don't make sense to me. And, sometimes it gets like really hard to support WWE, and I don't really say too much about what WWE does because I used to watch them back in the day, and they did a lot worse shit back in the day. I mean, we talking about Vince saying the N-word and stuff like that, and I still fucking watched it for whatever reason. And so I can't really be too upset and say, oh, I'm going to stop watching this, that, and the third, because I'm like, well, I can't really say too much. Like, while what they did right now is really bad, they did a lot worse things back in the day, and I still was watching them. Now, I don't watch, I don't watch their shows live on TV. I did spend like $40 a few weeks ago getting some shirts. I went to, I went to Raw, I went to SmackDown whenever it comes to Philly. I had plans to go to WrestleMania 37. I had plans to go to another WrestleMania, And so the only good thing about it now is that a lot of the other wrestling companies have a bigger spotlight than they used to. And I mean AEW, I mean Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan. It's now a lot, the options are more open. The options, you don't feel like you're wasting your talent by going to an indie show. I mean, indie wrestling at an indie company, for example. I mean, you can go to AEW, still be on TV. You can go to Impact and still be on TV. You can go to New Japan and still do something. You can even go to Ring of Honor and still do something. You can go to NWA. I mean, look at what NWA was doing earlier this year before the pandemic. So I have a lot of problems for her. MJF tweeted out about her situation and said, pretty much the WWE marks trying to defend WWE. Like, how can you defend WWE now after what they did? And he said, see you down the road, Thea. So, of course, AEW probably got their eyes on her. I think that it'll be a very good idea for them because they definitely need help in their women's division. I've said it time and time and time and time again. They need help with their women's division. They need more time on AEW Dynamite. They need better storylines. They need something for us to tune in each week. And they need someone that would give us a reason to care. They have women on the roster. You can see it on AEW Dark. But there's no reason for us to care about them. Like, I see, what's her name? Red Velvet. I like her intro, how they say out of your mama's kitchen, stuff like that. But why should I care about her? What does she have to offer that'll make me want to watch her versus, tuning into NXT and watch that women's division? Now, of course, it's very hard to compete with the NXT women's division. I mean, it's the best women's division in all of wrestling right now. But at least give us something for us to hold on to. So the next piece of news, Sasha Banks was on The Mandalorian. Her episode did come out late last week. I'm not going to give out any spoilers, but her character wasn't who I thought it would be. I'll just say that. But she did do a good job on the episode that she was on. Don't know if she's going to be on any more, but, big props to her. I mean, to basically be in the Star Wars world is a dream for everyone. And the fact that she was able to make it and be the character that she was. Not going to say who she was or anything like that, like I said. But, big shout out to her. Next piece of news. Going to break a lot of, hearts out there. Sorry to announce this, but Alexa Bliss is engaged. Sorry, guys. The ship has sailed. The funeral, you can, we'll all hold a moment of silence for you guys. I can hear all the hearts breaking as we speak. But yes, Alexa Bliss is married. I believe it was put out, I think it was a Snapchat or something like that. But she's engaged to Ryan Cabrera. So, sorry guys, maybe next lifetime you can now concentrate on someone else. Don't know who the new single hottie of WWE will be now, but it is no longer Alexa Bliss. And then Lana is having a documentary coming out this Saturday. WWE Chronicle is doing an episode on Lana, and it seems that it's all about, her overcoming things and how we all talk shit about her and how we say she's not good in the ring and stuff and her overcoming things. So the story, what I didn't want to happen at Survivor Series look like it's going to happen, and it looks like we're going to have Lana as the sole survivor. And she's going to win it for Raw. So I don't know if anybody is happy to hear that coming, but, it is what it is. So getting all the way back to Full Gear, it was a good show. It definitely was. Had its ups and downs. I have some complaints about it. But going into the matches, we had the NWA World Women's Championship Match, Serena Deeb versus Allison Kay. I didn't really watch this episode like that. I caught the tail end of it, and it was only for 10 minutes. But Serena won by submission to retain her title, and then out comes Thunder Rosa. And they come face to face, so we know that they are going to be going against each other again, which is going to happen at AEW Dynamite this week. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. From what I saw, it was fine, but it's just, I don't know. They could have put this, I understand that this is a title from another company, but they could have definitely put this on the main card and put no, they they wanted to put Orange Cassidy on the pre-show, but I don't know. It's just like the women seem like they're on a back burner. So the first match is for the World Title Eliminator Final Tournament, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. And I was very shocked that they started off with this match. I thought this match would be later on down the card. And I felt bad for everyone because this match was so good. I knew it would be good because, like I said, Kenny Omega, that new Japan style, that hard-hitting style, not a lot of people can handle that type of fighting style. You can definitely see the change in Shinsuke Nakamura. You can definitely see the change with Asuka. How it feels like they have to pull back because the way that they wrestle, that stiff type of wrestling, you can't do that with everyone. And so I was very happy of him going against Hangman Page because Hangman Page definitely can handle that type of fighting style. And they definitely, it was so good. We have, the cleaner is back. And Kenny Omega goes on to win. So now we have him going against Jon Moxley. And we had the match between them before, which was unsanctioned. And I can't wait to see that type of match. But I just don't know where Hangman Page goes from here. Because the whole story was him and Kenny Omega. And I was kind of hoping that this storyline between those two would kind of get dragged out a little more, give us a little more meat to this story, versus having Kenny on commentary watching Hangman Page watching from the entrance of Kenny and the Young Bucks and everything. I wish they would give us more, but it seems, I'm hoping that they're giving Hangman Page something else to do besides being the drinker. It really works when the fans are in the stands because, back then before COVID, back when we were all happy and we could all high-five each other, they were giving out beers to Hangman Page and he would sit there and drink it and chug it, so that was fun. But that match lasted for 16 minutes, and it was a hell of a match. It definitely was a hell of a match. So after that, we have Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. This was okay, It is what it is. John Silver definitely cracks me up. He is very entertaining on the Being the Elite series if you haven't checked it out. But the thing is, though, what AEW has to remember is there is a portion of their audience that does not watch these YouTube series. So when you see John Silver and, you kind of don't really get some of the inside jokes. So I hope AEW kind of keeps that in mind. But I did laugh at the part where John Silver pulled off the pockets from Orange Cassidy. But Orange Cassidy goes in for the win. And I was just hoping that, we can get more with the Dark Order. They definitely had a lot of promise, especially when you watch them on Being the Elite. They're pretty funny, but I don't know. It's to the point, ever since they got Colt Cabana on there, I kind of realized that it's more of a comedy thing versus anything. Brody Lee kind of made the cult, I guess I should say, a little taken more seriously than what it was before he came around. So with him down around, we're back to things getting a little silly. And I'm hoping that we can bring it back in. After that, we have, for the TNT Championship match, Darby Allin versus Cody Rhodes. This match was pretty good. Of course, I kind of expected Darby to win, but I wouldn't have been shocked if Cody was to retain. Cody was definitely showing some, heel type of moves. He was sitting there doing push-ups at one point. He, what else he was doing? Arn Anderson was very upset with him, looking like Andy Reid on the sideline, but he was pretty upset with him. And there was a bunch of roll-ups that they were doing at the end of the match, and then Darby Allin did another roll-up, and that's how he won the title. I don't know, I would have wished, I don't know what it is, and I thought it was only a WWE thing until I realized AEW loves to do it too. I don't know what the whole fascination with a roll up pin. The not just the surprise pin, but as we saw with this match, after a series of roll up pins, suddenly you're down for 3 seconds. I can understand whenever they do it, the surprise one. I can understand because you get rolled up, you be like, whoa, what's going on? And by the time the ref hits three, you realize what's going on. I can try to understand that. But when you're in a series of roll ups and you're constantly kicking out to roll up for the other person, and then you roll up the other person, and they kick out, and you get rolled up, and then you kick out. I'm not understanding how you were able to be down for 3 seconds after you were kicking out like 20 times. So, it's whatever, but we're all waiting for Cody Rhodes to turn to the dark side. I mean, he's already there. I mean, him and his Triple H entrances every week, it gets very fucking tiring after a while. Like, I get it. He's the only one that goes through the middle. We have to hear the full song, and not only he gets, the cool lighting, he gets the fog, he gets the pyro, he gets the smoke, he gets the fire. It's like, damn. And only Brandy can go up the middle with him. Like, Arn Anderson don't even get to go up in the middle with Cody. He has to go through the damn tunnel, like a reject or something. So, I don't know. I'm waiting for Cody to turn heel or something. So after that, we have the AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. And we have Vickie Guerrero on the sidelines. And Vickie tried to interfere in the match. And I caught this live. Shida was going up against the ropes. And Vickie goes to grab her. But Vickie obviously missed. And her finger touches the rope. And then Shida kind of falls down as if her ankle got grabbed. But this was I'm not going to say good. This was fine. This wasn't as exciting as their first match was. I mean, I remember the first match. It basically was so good. Everybody was over the moon with Shida. And I was going for Nyla Rose to win this. First of all, not because she was in the Mega Man cosplay, but I don't know what AEW I don't know what AEW feels about Shida. She won the title in a very good way. A lot of people are fans of her, and a lot of people was waiting for the moment for her to win to match. And as soon as she wins the title, she's pretty much standing to the side watching the damn show. And I don't get that. Like, that's your champion. Why is she watching from the side? I'd rather her be backstage and like talking shit to one of the women and then set up a match or something like that. Like the damn women on AEW Dark is getting more time than she is. So I was hoping that Nyla Rose would win because I was hoping that would kind of force AEW to kind of do something with the women's title. I mean, y'all can't sit here and cut shots at WWE when y'all sitting here doing the same shit. Like, it's almost to the point I don't even know if they really like their women's division or something, because you have you have Brandy in charge of the women's division, and granted she was just the damn announcer in WWE, but I kind of was like, all right, well, she was in WWE, she knows how the women feel, she should at least be talking to the female wrestlers back when she was in WWE and understand like how they felt and what they were going through as far as not having enough time. And I thought that she would come over to AEW and do the same thing, and all she's doing is putting herself in the damn storyline. So it's like something isn't adding up here. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 according to AEW. So I was hoping that Nyla Rose would win because I was hoping that would force AEW to do something, but alas, Shida retains, and I don't know what they're going to do with her. If I recall correctly, she was not on AEW Dynamite the next day. I mean, that Wednesday. So, And then afterwards, we had Vickie yelling at Nyla Rose, and then she slaps her, and then she goes to leave. And Nyla Rose, I don't know, she had this look on her face like she was very surprised that she got slapped. But it looks like she wasn't angry about the whole thing. So after that, we have for the AEW Tag Team Championship match, the Young Bucks versus FTR. And everybody has been waiting for this match for so many damn years. This match was really good. This match lasted for 28 minutes, the longest match on the card. This was a really good match. I was just a little disappointed at the fact that it was such a short of a build. I wish that it would have went on a lot longer. I mean, when FTR came to AEW, you know, we knew was coming, but then they kind of teamed up together and then to go against the Butcher and the Blade. And then suddenly the Young Bucks kind of turned, but they were turning heel against other people. So there wasn't like any direct, Young Bucks versus FTR situation until the Young Bucks win that tournament that we all knew that they were going to win. But this was really good. People were definitely bleeding. There was, I was just surprised. First of all, as soon as I heard that stupid stipulation that the Young Bucks put out there, that if they were to win, that they wouldn't challenge for another championship, I knew that the Young Bucks were going to win. What I had wished would happen is that there was no stipulation of this, and it would be, the Young Bucks struggling and not liking the fact that I wanted FTR to win this match, first of all. And this is how I would love for it to go. FTR wins this match at Full Gear. The Young Bucks go crazy because FTR can sit there and say they're the greatest tag team. And they can go around and, say all that to the Young Bucks' face. The Young Bucks starts to get upset and they they start super kicking more people and they start turning more to the heel side. And I know AEW doesn't do faces and heels, but their tactics would be more for a heel. They'll get very upset, wanting to get that title shot again. And FTR goes, no, we already beat you. Get to the back of the line. We're the greatest tag team. You have to work your way back up for it. And then it would have been that back and forth. And then I would have felt like if we had got something like that, it would definitely have made up for all the years that we had been waiting for these two teams to come together. So I'm hoping that, I guess, now that the Young Bucks have the title, that will be FTR. That will, constantly go after the titles again, and then we'll get a longer feud between these two tag teams. But it was just weird the way that everything was handled. So after that, we get the Ultimate Deletion, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. I was unsure if this was going to be a pre-taped segment, if this was going to take place if this was going to take place on the Hardy compound or not, and it looked like it was. And I had Sammy Guevara winning if this was like a regular type of no holds bar. I didn't know if this was going for the Hardy compound. As soon as I saw it was at the Hardy compound, I knew exactly what it was. And this match was fun, first of all. There was a promise of, I didn't even catch this until people were talking about it that night. I think it was Tony Khan or somebody from AEW who mentioned that there was going to be surprise appearances at Full Gear. And so I'm sure people were waiting for the surprise appearances, and lo and behold, we got the surprise appearances here where Gangrel and Hurricane Helms had appeared. First of all, I popped for Gangrel. The theme music is one of the best faction theme music of all time, I have to say. As soon as I saw him, I had to mute the TV and play the theme music all over again, because it was definitely awesome. So this match between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara lasted for 19 minutes. And like I said, it was entertaining. Of course, we had Santana Ortiz, who came out to help out Sammy Guevara, which I figured would happen. We had Private Party on Matt Hardy's side, and then it just kind of came to like craziness at the end. Um, Hurricane Helms then was thrown into the Lake of Reincarnation and returned as Ace Reporter Gregory Helms, and then he was kicked back into the Lake of Reincarnation again. And so everybody got into the ring, which was in the middle of the woods. And then Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy ended up inside. I think it was called the Dome of Deletion. I think that was the name of it. And then from there, it kind of went downhill for Sammy Guevara, and the ending was a little bit confusing. First of all, Sammy Guevara doing the Swanton Bomb from the top of the ladder, definitely a troll move. He had, then Matt Hardy hit Sammy Guevara, I think it was a chair, and then there was a spot where he dove Sammy Guevara or something like that into like a table or something like that. I forgot. And then you see, or he hit him with a, no, I know what it was. Sammy Guevara was laying down on the ground, and Matt Hardy kind of did what I think it was Randy Orton did, and he put a chair close to his head on the ground, and then lifted up and allegedly smash Sammy Guevara with the chair. You see Sammy Guevara rolls over, and you see his head start to bleed, which I'm like, okay, you know, I guess we're doing this. And then after Matt Hardy wins the match, they dump Sammy Guevara into a trash can and put him on a truck, and then Senora Benjamin had drove him away. And I was sitting there like, I think we just witnessed a murder here. I think that, we should definitely be concerned for Sammy Guevara, who didn't show up at AEW Dynamite, if I remember correctly. My issue is I felt as though Sammy Guevara should have won this match. Now, of course, once I found out I was on a Hardy compound, I already knew what it was. But I was hoping that with the help from the Inner Circle, he would have stole a win. Sammy Guevara definitely needs the win. He's definitely coming off as the punching bag for this feud. I don't understand why after Sammy Guevara had lost at the last pay-per-view that we decided to do this again. I'm hoping that now that we had the ultimate deletion that we can move on from this feud, because this isn't doing anything for Sammy Guevara. I think Sammy Guevara should have been the winner of this feud to kind of put himself a little more over. So after that, we had Chris Jericho versus MJF, and this was okay, this was okay, I would have to say. This was, we all kind of figured that MJF would win this match to put him into the Inner Circle. But man, Chris Jericho is 50 years old, and first of all, he looks good sometimes. He looks good sometimes, and I don't know. This was okay. I rather had this match be the end of this feud instead of the beginning. I don't know, because I don't know where we go from here. They already fought, so I was hoping that MJF would be working Chris Jericho's good side, get into the Inner Circle, either try to take it over or destroy it, and then Chris Jericho and MJF would fight, and we would be more excited and ready for that match versus already getting it and not really like, I'm sure when they fight again, yeah, it might be a little exciting to see, but we're not going to be as excited for that match as we would be. We wouldn't be as excited for that match because we already got it already. So, After that, we get the I Quit match for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. Now, I had high hopes for this match. I really did. This was a good match. This definitely was like, whoa, dude. Um, I was hyped. Everybody was hyped because of the promo that we got the Wednesday before this match. Eddie Kingston saying, "I'm gonna ruin you, and you're gonna have to kill me. You're gonna have to kill me." And I was sitting there like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be good as hell," and it was good. I have to say, it was good. Some of them spots I haven't seen before, like someone getting slammed into some thumbtacks and then taking a full bottle of rubbing alcohol and pouring on his back. Whoa. Whoa. And then the barbed wire around the fist and punching Jon Moxley. I love that because that showed, how far Eddie Kingston was willing to go to get that title. That he was willing to injure himself to, to win that title. And Jon Moxley with a barbed wire baseball bat into Kingston's face. And then Kingston, if I remember correctly, turned around and I think he put the barbed wire on Jon Moxley's forehead or something like that. But this was a lot. This was really good. And I'm not saying that as in the, oh my gosh, I love blood and guts type of situation. But this fit the storyline. I don't mind, matches like this if, as long as it fits the storyline. These are two men who are very good friends and are willing to push each other to the limit to, to either retain the title or win the title. I mean, Eddie Kingston cutting that promo saying that the reason why his mom doesn't have a grandchild is because he's after the title. The reason why his mom doesn't have a daughter-in-law is because he's after, the championship. So it's just like how far Eddie Kingston was willing to go to win the title. My only problem, though, is how the match ended. Once they mentioned that, because I was curious how they were going to pull this off, because I highly doubt that we're going to hear Jon Moxley say I quit. But Eddie Kingston put up such a good fight and like put a lot of doubt in your mind as to, okay, well, if you're sitting there saying you're going to have to kill me, then what has to happen in order for you to say I quit? Well, apparently, all Jon Moxley had to do was put Eddie Kingston into a bulldog chokehold with barbed wire wrapped around. And then Kingston said, I quit. Like, he actually said the words, I quit. And I don't know, I was hoping, not really hoping for something more gory, but for Eddie Kingston to, like, really be, like, shaking his head and keep saying, no, 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 no. For him to be in the move a lot longer, or maybe for Jon Moxley like put more barbed wire on him or something like that. I don't know. It felt kind of you felt kind of deflated with the way that Eddie Kingston had quit for the match. But overall, this was a pretty good pay-per-view. Definitely have to say that. And the pay-per-view definitely went a lot longer than what I expected. I believe this pay-per-view lasted for 3 hours or something like that. I think it was for longer than 3 hours. I think it was like 3-4 hours, I have to say. It was definitely long. But this was a pretty good pay-per-view overall. So going into some recaps, we had SmackDown. We had SmackDown last week. The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, showing up in some jeans and sneakers. Not that often we see him outside the full SWAT gear that he likes to wear. A lot of people are going crazy because he is now wrestling shirtless. I'm still waiting for the fucking theme to change. That's what I'm waiting for. You'll hear me pop hard as hell once he changes that damn theme. But Roman Reigns comes out and he starts talking about how, Tribal Chief, he's a Tribal Chief, and this, that, and the third, and he is all about, he is the island of, oh, I forgot the word he used. Oh my gosh. It was good. It was good. It was like opportunity or something like that. And he mentioned how he pretty much put over people. And then out comes Drew McIntyre. And this is the first jump from another brand that has happened. We know that WWE loves to do this whenever it's close to Survivor Series. And Drew McIntyre is pretty much telling Roman Reigns, hi, my name is Drew McIntyre. He said, oh, the last time we met each other was when I threw you out at the Royal Rumble, which I completely forgot about at that point. And then he mentioned, I'm the one who made Brock Lesnar my bitch, and he looked right at Paul Heyman. I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I like Drew McIntyre, I definitely do. And a lot of people are hype about this feud between these two. I will get to them two in a moment. But then because Drew McIntyre was on SmackDown, we had a backstage segment between him and Sheamus, and I would love to hear. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was the accent or something like that, because we don't really get two people with an accent talking to each other that often on WWE. If I remember, I mean, if I really can put that out there. But I don't know, it was kind of fun watching them two talk to each other. Because, even though Sheamus is a heel and Drew McIntyre's technically a face, they're still friends. And they were talking to each other as friends. So that was pretty cool. We also had Sasha Banks, who, damn girl, that outfit, comes out to mention how she retained her SmackDown Championship, which I am still shocked about. This is the first time that she ever successfully defended that damn title. But I guess it's because it was the Raw Women's Championship, and this is the SmackDown Women's Championship as to why she was able to retain the title. But we had Bayley come out because Bayley want that title back, and then Carmella comes out of nowhere and attacks Sasha Banks again. But I was a little confused at what happened to Bayley at that point because Carmella attacks Sasha and then afterwards goes up the ramp, and we don't even see Bayley. Bayley don't even show up to attack Sasha Banks more or to hold up the title. But, I guess the woman who is now considered untouchable or unstoppable, I forgot what the fuck she said. Yeah, now she's after the title. I'm just hoping that Carmella has improved more in the wrestling ring. If she's going to go up against, if she's going to put herself into the middle of Bayley and Sasha Banks, they definitely had a pretty damn good feud. The Hell in a Cell match was pretty good. So if Carmella is going to stick herself into the up there with Sasha Banks, she definitely has to bring it, I would have to say. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this character. Before I put anything down, I always do the whole, wait and see how it works out. Maybe I'm proven wrong. But I don't have high hopes for Carmella. I really hope they're not planning to put the damn title on her. But seeing as though they shot her ass up to the title picture, it looks like it may go that way. After that, we had Otis, who I believe he went against. Who did he go against? He went against Dolph Ziggler, I think it was. And there was a backstage segment where the man who is no longer called Shorty G, thank goodness, he is now called Chad Gable. And we are all ready, willing, and Gable. So he walks up to Otis and he offered Otis to be a student of the Alpha Academy. So, pop for the reference to American Alpha, even though sadly we probably won't get that again. And don't know where we're going with this. I don't know. I'm not, unless they're changing Otis's gimmick, I don't have high hopes for Alpha Academy. I'm hoping they are finally doing what a lot of people are asking to do, and that's to turn Chad Gable into a mini, not really mini, but similar to Kurt Angle, because there's a lot of similarities there. And that maybe he's starting his own stable. I'm hoping that's where he's going, but I don't know. I don't have high hopes for it. I mean, Chad Gable just got his name back. Let's just, let's take our celebrations one at a time. And then we get the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, no holds bar, the final chapter, they keep saying. And, we complain about when feuds don't last for a while, but then we complain when a feud lasts for a while. Now the difference is that this feud, while on paper should have been good, it just wasn't. It hasn't been playing out to where as though you're excited to see this. Now I'm sure on paper, when the writers read this on paper, they thought it would be good. It's just the execution of the storyline. The whole popping out of the eye, and now we got Aaliyah and Murphy and stuff. And then, I don't know. The feud between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio could have definitely been a lot better. We had definitely been a lot more excited to see this match. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, they're really good in the ring. And they definitely are good in the ring together. It's just the damn gimmicks. I mean, not the gimmicks, the stipulations, the eye for an eye match and stuff like that. That it really messed up this feud. But we had, the no holds bar. Murphy is on Seth Rollins' side. Then towards the end of the match, Seth Rollins went to grab a chair. He took off, what was it? One of the stoppers on the leg to attack Rey Mysterio. And Dominic saves the day, grabs Seth Rollins' leg, and saves his dad. And so we had Murphy, who came into the ring and gave Seth the chair. And he was about to help Seth Rollins attack Rey Mysterio until Murphy attacked Seth Rollins, which we kind of knew what was happening. Seth Rollins was looking at Murphy like, how could you do this to me? And Rey Mysterio went to go for the 619 and missed. And I noticed Mysterio's eye is fully healed. I could have sworn that his eye was white or red or something like that because of what happened to his eye. I mean, he had the damn patch on his mask in the beginning of the match. And then, I mean, the patch was gone at the end and his eye looked different. And so Aaliyah went to give Mysterio a hug or a kiss, whatever it is she was about to do. Rey Mysterio stops her, looks at Murphy, and says, "Get in the ring and face me like a man." And then the thing that I'm confused about is that Rey Mysterio approves for Murphy to, I guess, date his daughter. Like, I know a lot of people. I know there are people out there that that has an age difference in their relationship. And I'm not knocking that at all. I'm really not. I have no problem with that. It's just the fact that they're doing it in WWE with everything that has been going on, that they decided, like, you know what, it's a good idea for us to do this. For us to sit here and say, yeah, a 19-year-old and, a 30-something-year-old guy, all good. We can, let's do it. And I don't know. It's just not working for me, especially for how quick she sits there and say I love him and then they kiss. Like I said before, I don't know how much interaction there had been. I mean, there had been a lot of motherfucking texting that was going on between these two because Murphy was with Rollins and Aaliyah was with her family. So I don't know how this came across so quickly. But, nevertheless, Seth Rollins, I think, is rumored to be gone after Survivor Series. I don't know if this is leading a matchup between Murphy and Seth Rollins at Survivor Series, and Murphy, defeats Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins goes off at home with his hot fiance and his new baby. And side note, if you haven't seen those maternity pictures of Becky Lynch, woo-wee. She looks really good, first of all. It looks like I think she's due in December. And she definitely looks like she is getting there. She probably is about 7, 8 months maybe, if she's due in December. She looks really good. Definitely check. It's on Instagram. Check out the podcast on Instagram, and you'll see in the story that I shared one of the photos. But they look good, both of them. She was wearing like very tight. She was wearing. I mean, you have to wear tight dresses when you're taking maternity shots, but she was wearing dresses, and she didn't look herself. I don't know. I'm so used to her, with the leather jacket and looking like Stone Cold 2.0, that when I see her in the dresses and hair all done and everything, it looks like a completely different person. So I guess this Friday on SmackDown, since WWE loves to put their pay-per-views together literally within 2 hours before the show, that we're going to get Seth Rollins versus Murphy, and that'll be the end of that. But I'm just confused at what they're going to do as far as Leah and Murphy. There is the rumor out there that they're going to do a similar storyline as I think it happened in a different promotion, where Aaliyah and Murphy goes to get married, and then Murphy reveals that he played Aaliyah all along, and that he actually is with Seth Rollins the whole time, and that he did it just to break apart the Mysterio family. I hope they don't do that, because it'll just further show. It's just further, like, I will have more of a problem with it, because it's the young girl getting swindled by the older guy, and we just came fresh off of a whole movement of women who are pressured to do things because of men. It's not good timing. Like, if we had done this, maybe years ago or something like that, or maybe even years down the road, it probably wouldn't sit right. It probably would sit better with me. But the fact that we're still fresh with some of this stuff, it's not sitting right with me. They could have did something else with this. They could have did something else with this. I don't know. They could have did something better with that. So going into Raw, this past Monday, I hope everyone is ready. Lana is going to be the sole survivor. A lot of changes to Survivor Series now. We had Lana, who decided to team up with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for whatever reason, to go against Dana Brooke, Asuka, and Mandy Rose, who is actually legit injured. So, from what I've seen, it looks like Mandy just missed grabbing the ropes, even though it was Nia Jax that threw her into the ropes. It looked like Mandy went to grab the rope, and actually her hand couldn't catch it in time. So Mandy is actually injured. She has a shoulder injury. And there was a backstage segment with Lana, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. They explained to her that you are not to tag yourself in. You're going to stand on the apron. You're not good. We don't want you. All this and that. And Lana doing her best to show the sad face and I'm good. I believe in myself. And I just slapped my forehead like, are we doing the Mean Girls storyline again? Like, I don't get it with WWE. Whenever they do these female storylines, they do the Mean Girls thing. You're not good. No one wants you here. You suck. You should quit. And it gets tiring that they do that over and over and over again. I mean, we've seen it so many times. We saw it. Lacey Evans did it. I think it was earlier this year. This year is kind of phasing into one glob for me, but I could have sworn Lacey Evans did something like this earlier this year. And it's just obviously setting up for Lana to be Soul Survivor or something. And of course, Lana tags herself in. Shayna Baszler almost had the match won. She had Asuka. Who I would have been very interested if she were to tap out to Shayna Baszler. Lana tags herself in, and she goes for a kick, I think it was, and then goes for a pin. Asuka kicks out. Lana can't believe it. She's looking at Shayna Baszler, and I think Asuka, I forgot what Asuka did, but Lana ended up on her back. Asuka then grabs her, of course, puts her in her Asuka lock. Lana taps out, and Lana looks surprised. Like, what? Why? Huh? What happened? And then immediately, I think it was Nia who immediately cleared off the table. I mean, we already know what it is. I think I'm very interested to see if there is a record of how many times someone's been put on a table consecutively each week. I I really think it's Spike Dudley who had that record of how many times put through a table consecutively each week. Because damn, like, I mean, I know it's done purposely because we're supposed to feel bad for her. Um, but damn, we already knew what was going to happen. Nyla Jax acted like she was going to be nice to Lana. Of course, they put her through the table again. I think we're up to number 9 at this point. And then they attacked Mandy Rose during the match. They had her arm on the stair, and then Shayna Baszler had stomped on it. So obviously she's out because she has a legit injury. After the match, there was an interview with Dana Brooke. And then Mia Yim, I'm sorry, excuse me, let me check my notes. Her name is Reckoning. Goes to attack Dana Brooke for some reason. Because I could have sworn that she's after the women's title, so I don't know why she decides to fight Dana Brooke. Especially for the fact that she didn't even get put into the team. With she didn't even get put into the Raw Survivor Series team. So I don't get the point of her attacking Dana Brooke. But of course Dana Brooke gets attacked. And then we get a switcheroo. We have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, who I have to double check. I think they're the ones who they're kicked out, and they are replaced with Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. Or is it? I'm sorry. No, I have it wrong. I saw the segment correctly. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose have been kicked out of Team Raw, and they have been replaced with Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. Dana Brooke obviously taken out because Mandy Rose got taken out because Mandy Rose has a legit injury. So I thought at first when I was watching Raw, I had to like catch on to it again. I thought it was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler kicked out for Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, and I was sitting there like, okay, so we're really driving home the fact that Lana is going to be the sole survivor of this. But yeah, so switcheroo of that. We also get a episode of Firefly Funhouse. Alexa is so good in her role. I mean, I am so. It's like a breath of fresh air that she gets to play this gimmick that she really connects with. We had Bray Wyatt challenge The Miz to a match on Raw, and he said, he has to train, and he was doing, I think it was agility, and he did spelling, and Alexa had asked him how to spell the word jackass, and he said, can you use it in a sentence, and Abby the Witch was like, just spell the word jackass. And so, first of all, not even censored. And then Bray Wyatt spells out Miz as for the word jackass. And I was like, okay. I didn't even check to see if it was the 10 o'clock hour at that point. Because, what they had said, like, many moons ago, that the 10 o'clock hour would be uncut or something like that. I forgot. But apparently the 10 o'clock hour would be more for the adults. We would feel like, feel like we're back in the Attitude Era again or something like that. And then for the main event, we get Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre wins. And so now the actual feud for Survivor Series is Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, which will be a good match, but I'm just confused as to why Randy Orton got the title. Like, what was the point of it all? So he can pretty much tie up. I think he's now tied with John Cena, or he's close to it. I guess that's what we're doing. And now Drew McIntyre is a two-time champion. Don't make sense. Now, I know a lot of people are happy about Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. My thing is, I was fine with Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns because with this being Survivor Series, this is going to be a one-off feud. This is all champion versus champion, and then at the end, we're going back to our regularly scheduled program. I feel as though Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns definitely has some magic there. I'd rather for them to like build up the feud for it and have them, whether it be on the same brand or something, and to have those two go up against each other, than for us to get it for fucking Survivor Series and then never heard of again. I'd rather it be an actual feud. Like, give me promos. I want the video package. I want us to look back and like, damn, yo, we finally get the match. But, you know, for us to get this one-off match, I'm hoping maybe we get Jey Uso interfering. Maybe somebody else help Roman Reigns out and interfere. And then it'll be mainly a teaser match, sort of. And then we get the actual feud later on with Drew McIntyre and the Tribal Clan. But, you know, I don't understand why Randy Orton won the title if we're going to have him drop it, you know, a few weeks later. So going into some Survivor Series predictions. Of course, we do not have SmackDown, so not all of the matches are filled up. So, but I'm just going to go off of what I think is going to happen. So we have the 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series elimination match. We have Team Raw, which is AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Riddle. And it's very interesting what they decided to do this year. Normally we have SmackDown invade Raw, Raw invade SmackDown. And it was very exciting last year when they threw NXT in it, because now with Survivor Series, I mean, I watched Survivor Series back in I guess 1992, when I caught the first Survivor Series for myself. And it was very exciting because with Survivor Series, you had teams and you had people who never like teamed up with people, and you had like basically dream matchups. Of course, you know, we would have like Team Hogan or something like that against this team. And so Survivor Series was very exciting. And now, I don't know, I don't know if it's because of the brand versus brand thing. It doesn't really, it's not as exciting. And then plus, we just had the draft. I mean, like I said, I'm not convinced, first of all, that AJ Styles, who has been Mr. the face that run the place on SmackDown, comes to Raw and is suddenly Team Raw, captain of Team Raw, and that we're supposed to believe that he is willing to ride or die for Raw after being on Raw for what, 4-5 weeks, maybe, I don't know. It probably actually been longer. I think it probably actually been a lot longer from that. And just time, 2020 is just like not making sense to me. But I'm just not understanding, like, I'm not understanding it. Now, I do appreciate the fact that we are having in-team fighting. So, you know, Riddle is getting on everyone's nerves. And so that type of stuff makes sense because he wasn't on Raw, so he can really care less. So that makes sense. But this whole brand versus brand thing, it's pretty annoying. I'd rather for them to do something like they did for the Pro Bowl, where they have a team captain and then he goes around recruiting people. Like, if we're going to have AJ Styles' team versus, versus Seth Rollins' team for SmackDown, I'd rather have AJ Styles go to NXT, go to SmackDown, and recruit people for his team. That would make Survivor Series a lot more interesting, because all of us was hyped last year when it was NXT versus SmackDown versus Team Raw, because we had matchups that we probably really wouldn't see, because we had wrestlers from NXT who was, you know, treated as NXT wrestlers. I mean, if we had Rhea Ripley on the main roster, you know, years down the road in the Survivor Series, it probably wouldn't be as meaningful as Rhea Ripley from NXT going against people on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, we had matchups from NXT, Raw, and SmackDown that we probably wouldn't seen. I mean, we had fucking Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan. Excuse me. What? Okay? So that had all of us hyped. And I'm hoping that they maybe will have this idea next year. So if you know anyone who works in WWE, please credit your girl. But they should definitely have captains and have the captain go to Raw, NXT, and SmackDown and recruit people for their team. That would make it a lot more exciting. Can you imagine AJ Styles going to fucking NXT to recruit people? What? What? Pete Dunne on Team AJ? Stop it. But going back to this, I'm sorry to put you on a high there. Let's come back down to earth. We got Team Raw, like I said, AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Riddle versus Team SmackDown, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, and to be determined. So they're going to determine it this Friday. I didn't even catch to see what the matches are for this Friday SmackDown, so they probably have the last qualifying match listed, but I'm going to go with Team Raw. Team Raw, first of all, is established. They, of course, a lot more attention is put into Team Raw than it is for Team SmackDown. I think that, I don't know who else would be added for Team SmackDown, truthfully. I mean, oh my god, if they put Chad Gable on Team SmackDown and we get Gable versus AJ Styles, but we probably won't get that. I don't know who would be the last person on Team SmackDown. Knowing our damn luck, we would probably get like motherfucking Otis or some shit like that. Let's see. But I'm gonna go with Team Raw on that one. I think that like I said, Raw is more established than SmackDown as far as their team setup. Definitely, I mean, we still have people missing from Team SmackDown, so I think that Raw is going to win this one. And then we have the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series Elimination Match. We got Team Raw, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lana, Lacey Evans, and Peyton Royce versus Team SmackDown, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and 2 other people to be determined. And, no, actually, I think the other 2 women would probably be Natalya and who else? I forgot who else was bigger. And probably Billie Kay. Oh, that's probably why they put Peyton Royce on there. We'll have Billie Kay, and it'll be Billie Kay versus Peyton Royce on opposite ends. What I would love to happen is for Bianca Belair to kick ass and win this. But this is WWE we're talking about, not NXT. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to get Team Raw again. We're going to have Lana as the sole survivor. Unless Lana is last person on her team, and she'll eliminate like Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott and start eliminating people, and then it comes down to Bianca Belair, and then Bianca Belair wins, and then Lana gets put through a table again because, why not? Why stop, So I'm hoping for Team SmackDown to win this. I am hoping for Bianca Belair. I like Bianca Belair. She definitely has a lot of promise. I had struggles with her when she was in NXT because I wasn't fully believing her gimmick. It was just something missing. And now, we're doing the EST, which she was doing in NXT, but now she's coming off with those vignettes as that annoying ass friend who knows it all, is fast and everything like that, and you're just like a hater of hers, but you still want to be around her because you're hoping that some of that good stuff rub off on you. That's how they kind of paint Bianca Belair, but I still like Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is like, her talent is up there. And the fact that she really, she didn't come from a wrestling background. She was a track and field star. So the fact that, she definitely put her all into, learning wrestling and things like that, I got respect for her. So I'm hoping for Team SmackDown, but I'm officially say Team Raw because, creative. So then after that, we get all the champion versus champion matches. We have Bobby Lashley who is the Raw United States Champion, versus Sami Zayn, who is SmackDown's Intercontinental Champion. Now, we have the Hurt Business, who I think might be ringside and who might try to do something. And I don't know. I would like for Sami Zayn to win this just so there are points for SmackDown side. But I think the only way that they'll have this play out is because we have the Hurt Business ringside, that Retribution will come out, because why not? They're there. Why not? So I think the Retribution is going to come out and distract the Hurt Business, and so Sami Zayn is going to win on that one. And the way he won on SmackDown when he went against Apollo Crews, definitely very different. That he ripped away the apron on purpose and tied up Apollo Crews' foot, pulled the string, and then hopped into the ring on the count of 9 and won the match. You know? I mean, why waste the energy, you know, if you're going to go against someone? I'm still waiting for Apollo Crews to get a better gimmick. Like, he's very talented, and that's one of my issues with NXT. Kind of going off a tangent here. One of my issues with the people in NXT is that NXT is not about gimmicks, it's about your talent in the ring. But when they get put up to the main roster, it's all of a sudden about gimmicks. So, while Apollo Crews was very talented in NXT, I knew he was going to have issues because all he was the smiling guy who can wrestle in the ring. And it's like, what else do you have besides smiling? Like, he was mediocre on the mic too. He got to have something else. So I'm just waiting for him to turn heel. So I don't know. Maybe there's a swerve or something that he turns heel. Well, no, he's on SmackDown, so that don't make any sense. I don't know. But I'm just waiting for something. But I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn officially on this one to kind of put points on SmackDown side. Then we have what I think will be a good match. The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, who is the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. These two are very funny, comedic, you know, whatever, but they're very good in the ring. Angelo, unfortunately, sometimes he's a bit questionable, but Montez definitely makes up for the two of them. But I think this is going to be a good match between these two tag teams. I'm sorry to say, I'm going to go with Raw on this one. The Street Profits are really good. Unless the New Day, you know, decides that they want the Street Profits to be put over, that would definitely be, you know, a pat on the back for the Street Profits, kind of not really handing off the torch, but the fact that there is another tag team out there that can definitely do similar to the New Day, I'm for that. But I think the New Day is going to win this match. Unless Big E is out there and he does something. But I think we're definitely going to get a segment backstage with Big E and the New Day. I don't know what they're going to do with Big E. They really haven't done much with him since his split with the New Day. Unless he is part of Team SmackDown for the 5-on-5 elimination match. That would be cool. Because it'll definitely give him a reason to be backstage. And we'll get that backstage segment between the three men. And then we have champion versus champion Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship versus Sasha Banks who is the SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm gonna go with Asuka. I like Asuka, I really do. I hate the fact that she is more of a gimmick than she is of the ass kicker spiritual animal she is to me. But the fact that Sasha Banks had not only Bayley, but she has Carmella on her back. Either one of those women are going to interfere, and it's going to cost Sasha Banks the match. And then we're gonna start off with that feud, which I think the next pay-per-view after this is TLC. I think it is. And if that is, we probably might be setting up a triple threat match between Bayley, Sasha, and Carmella. Because they definitely are leaving, they basically are leaving the story between Bayley and Sasha open. And then they just threw Carmella into the mix. So I think they're setting up for, a triple threat match between those three. So I have, one of them costing Sasha Banks the match and giving Asuka the win. And then we have, of course, the main event, Drew McIntyre, who's the Raw WWE champion, versus the Tribal Chief, the one and only, the show up and win, the one with the perfect set of teeth, who showed up in jeans, Mr. Roman Reigns, who is the SmackDown Universal Champion, who is going to be there with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is going to do nothing but look at Roman Reigns like he, like I said this before, I hope everyone in the world find themselves someone who looks at you the way that Paul Heyman looks at Roman Reigns. I really do. If we all get someone who looks at us like Paul Heyman, world peace, instantly. I think this is going to be a good match. Like I had said earlier, this match should definitely not be a one-off match. I wish that they had built a feud on this, and then we get the match finally. It definitely would have built up a lot of anticipation versus us getting this match now and probably not getting this match again because both men are in different brands. And both men are big enough to be on separate brands and handle the brand on its own. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns on this one because he is the tribal chief. He is the dominant one. He is finally the wrestler that I wanted him to be for so many years. Like I said before, if you had told me after Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker, after Roman Reigns, gets his main event matches at WrestleMania over and over and over again, and after the 20th time we get Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, that I would be a big fan of Roman Reigns, and that Roman Reigns would be one of the biggest reasons to tune in to SmackDown, I would have slapped you. But nevertheless, here we are. The Tribal Chief, he has turned many people onto his side. And that's why I call him the Tribal Chief. I have to give respect to someone who, after years of me, putting him down, didn't call him names. It did in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. But I did call him names in my head. Wasn't a fan of his, just wanting him to just sit down somewhere, and just stop. Not stop wrestling, but just stop. Just stop. Just calm down, sit down, stop. And suddenly, I'm a fan of his to the point that I have the itch to buy a damn shirt for him. I have to call him the Tribal Chief. That's power right there. That's power to turn your haters into your fans. What? I'm about to start preaching, but I'm not. But I'm going to go with Roman Reigns on this one. I think this is going to be a good match. But I think Jey Uso may do something without Roman Reigns' permission, whether that be ringside, interfere in the match, say something, blink or something. But I think Roman Reigns is going to win this match, and he's going to come out and say, with saying that he is, further showing why he is the Tribal Chief and why he is dominant. I just can't wait for Jimmy to get better and to come back so we can get the other tribal clan. Let's bring Tamina in this. Let's bring Naomi, Maybe we'll get one of them come out and help out Roman Reigns in this match. But this was, I think, overall, Survivor Series, on paper, of course, is going to be a good pay-per-view. Execution may be a different story. But on paper, this looks like going to be a pay-per-view. But, normally the big four pay-per-views are normally good. SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. They're normally good. WWE normally puts all their time and effort into these. I'm just upset that these matches aren't complete. And Survivor Series is this Sunday. Survivor Series should definitely have, everything put together. We should have had this back and forth between the feuds for, at least 2 weeks. But we have in-team fighting this year, which I don't mind, because the brand versus brand isn't as exciting. And then, of course, the big story of Survivor Series is that this will be the final, final, final retirement of The Undertaker. And, you know, normally I would be sad, but we went through this so many damn times, and I love The Undertaker. I'm a big fan of The Undertaker. But damn, I'm sitting here even thinking, like, is this actually the final one? I mean, I think it is because, we finally are getting a peek at Mark Calloway, and normally I figure that when that starts to happen, that's when we're done. But he still left it up in the air with his documentaries of The Last Ride. He said, I'm done. He said, as of right now, I'm done. But will I come back if there's a phone call? He said, as of right now, no. And I'm like, what do you mean, as of right now? Like, dude, I cried tears when you put your damn jacket and hat in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. I cried tears because I'm like, damn, this is the last time. This is it. He's done. He took off the coat and the hat. And then he returns next year, and I'm like, well, damn, dude, you're going to put us on a roller coaster ride? And now we get the documentary, and I teared up a little bit for that because I'm like, damn, this really feels like we're done. And then we get, now we're getting this. But it makes sense because we are at 30 years since his debut. So it makes sense for him to at least hit that mark, in his career and then ride off into the sunset. I mean, he did have a very good final match between him and AJ Styles. Hopefully he doesn't have the itch because that's what the whole point was, that he said in the documentary, that he would come out, have a bad match, or feel as though he can have a better match, and then come back out again. And so I'm hoping that his feud with AJ Styles, the fact that, it was pre-taped and everything, we had the edits, we had the music and stuff like that, I'm hoping that was enough for him. There is, like, the fan in me. There's a small portion fan in me that wish he would fight live in front of fans, but I'm fine with it. I was there for his last live match at Extreme Rules when he teamed up versus Roman Reigns, and he was going against Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. That was fun, I don't know if you heard live on the show, but we called Shane a pussy live because, that's what we do in Philly. We have to curse. We have to do some cursing chants. I didn't participate in the Eagles chants, though, that was going on. But I'm happy that I got to see him. I got to see him at WrestleMania, even though, of course, it was the WrestleMania that his streak broke. But that, and I hope everyone got to see him live at one point, whether it was a house show or, Raw and Smackdown, or one of the pay-per-view events. I hope everyone got to see him live because my first live show, it was Mind Games in Your House. I think that was 96. And at that point, he didn't have the lightning and the thunder, all that stuff. When he came out, the lights went out. And when those lights went out, the first time that I witnessed The Undertaker entrance and those lights went completely dark, crazy. Definitely scared the hell out of me. And then it was the single spotlight on him. But unfortunately for me, I didn't get the full experience of his entrance because he took off his jacket and went straight into the ring. And I think he was going against, oh my gosh, who was he going against? I think it was Goldust he went against at that pay-per-view. I could be wrong, but I think he went against Goldust on that pay-per-view. But for, 30 years is a long time. We just had Chris Jericho, who also celebrated 30 years in the business. And, the fact that it's coming to an end as, a fan watching for so long, seeing the people who brought us into, wrestling, who we grew up watching and stuff, and seeing them retire or unfortunately pass away, it's just like we're realizing we're entering a chapter in our lives. It's a little sad, but, I'm happy for The Undertaker that he's able to walk away on a good note, that now he can, I don't know what he's planning to do post-retirement. Of course, he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I think not next year because I think the Hall of Fame for 2020 is actually 2021. Maybe we'll get him added to 2021 or he'll be added the following year. But I hope that he, will help out the younger talent because there will never be another Undertaker. Not in our lifetime. Maybe down the road they'll have, the next generations will have their own version of The Undertaker. But for someone to create a gimmick and stick to that gimmick, not break kayfabe, not that often, and just really, like, pretty much raise the whole generation to be scared, think that he was actually a dead man and stuff, and taking us through rivalries and stories and stuff like that. That's very rare. And I'm hoping that he will use that knowledge, that talent, that experience he has, and help out other people. There are countless people on the main roster itself who can definitely use that experience, that knowledge of creating a gimmick and making it your own and sticking to it. And not only that, but make it believable for the audience. There's a lot of people who need that knowledge. And I'm hoping that's what The Undertaker will do post-retirement. I know he wants to spend time with his family and stuff like that. But I'm hoping, like, hey, once a month or something like that, hold a class in NXT definitely, and help people with their gimmick, I can only imagine how much better a lot of people would be if they had an ounce of the knowledge that The Undertaker has. So I can't wait to see, what happens. We'll get to see The Undertaker one last time. People probably tear up. I'll probably tear up, once it's official that he is actually retired and he's not going to come back out. I'm hoping he comes out and talk once there are live crowds. Whatever WrestleMania that is, that will have a live crowd, because COVID is starting to run rampant again. Here in Philly, they're shutting shit down again. There's been talks of shutting down the damn country. So who knows? I'm ready for this shit to be over. I want to party like it's 2019. Do you hear me? I want to party like it's fucking 2019. Because 2020 is a motherfucker. I can't high-five people. I haven't really seen my mom in a while. I was an essential worker, so I was working in the middle of this. And then I changed jobs and now I work from home. And now it's like, whoa. The world is a scary place, when you're working in quarantine and not really going out that often. But I can't wait for this to be over. I'm hoping wherever you're at, wherever you're listening to this podcast from, that you are safe, you are healthy, and that we can get this over with, because I want to go to a Raw, I want to go to a SmackDown. I have an idea of going to WrestleMania 37. I want us to get together again so we can cheer, so we can boo, so we can create new chants. Like, don't delete me off of Twitter when I say this, but I want to hear "This is awesome" chant live again. As much as I don't like that chant, I want to hear that chant again. I would love to hear a live crowd chant "This is awesome." That's how bad it is right now. Like I said, hopefully this is over. We can get back to somewhat of a normalcy, that we can get together and celebrate wrestling together again. But that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I do see some people listening to me live. Thank you so much for listening. Look like I got 14 people in here. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you so much for listening, though, because it is late, and so I appreciate you staying up. Let me give some shout-outs. Shout out to Julian Rob Bates from Wrestling Court Podcast on AlternativeMinds.com. Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show. Chris from We Talk Next Podcast. Nando Larry from Half K Podcast. Devin and Hafiz from Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. I was on one of their recent episodes. Be sure to check it out. It was fun talking with them. What's coming up next week? I'm going to come back from Mixer live again next week, because I highly doubt my computer will be fixed by that time. It seems like I have to get some type of hardware. I think it's a software issue. I don't know. I'm not a computer person. I have someone else checking it out for me, but it's not looking good for me. But next week I'll be back on Mixer live Tuesday at 9 o'clock to give a review for Survivor Series, the fallout for Raw, where I'm also going to recap what happened on NXT and AEW, and whatever news comes out after that. Who else is going to leave WWE because they want Twitch as well? Be sure to hop on Twitter and follow me at Jaydee Talks, Jaydee Talks. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Wrestlebread. If you look at the Linktree link under either the Twitter pages, you'll find the Instagram, you'll find Facebook, you'll find where you can listen to this podcast on the different, wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music as well. You also get another link to Mixlr, so be sure to subscribe. I'm going to fix my Mixlr so that next week people can actually chat with me, and so that I can interact with you guys and answer whatever questions. Like I said on Twitter, we could talk football, you know. Speaking of football, my team did really good this week, like best week ever. And that's because I'm a fan of the Cowboys, and the reason why they did so good is because their asses were on a bye week. And you can't lose on a bye week. But because it's the Cowboys, there's a possibility that they could have lost on a bye week. The NFC East division is trash. We need to throw away the whole division. Yes, I know I'm talking crap about my team, but 3-7 is the top of the division right now, okay? Well, 6-10 is going to get into the playoffs, and I'm sure if you're a fan of a different team outside the playoffs and your team doesn't make it into the playoffs because one of our bum-ass teams make it into the playoffs at 6-10, you'd probably be upset too. So I'm hoping that NFL will change up their rules so that whoever is number 5 or 6 or whatever gets the playoff spot for whoever's in NXT East. And that's even if it's the Cowboys. I'm hoping for Team Tank this year because what else we're going to do? We're going to, crawl our way into the playoffs and get slaughtered in the first round? What? No, thank you, sir. I'll pass on that one. So, like I said, thank you so much for listening to me. Follow me, like, subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment. Whatever questions you want me to answer next week, let me know. And until next time, guys, peace.